Netflix was all of a sudden like wide open. They were completely open to do wild stuff now because they're like, look, fuck all this woke shit. This is not profitable. Not only is it not profitable, like we're actually killing the business. And you're killing the business of comedy because people watch these specials and like, what is this? Like you made a DEI comedy special or, you know, an inclusive comedy special where you're letting people do comedy in the biggest form in the world just because they fit this particular group of people, this particular political group. It's crazy. It's identity politics in the worst way possible because it's counterproductive for your business. Your business is to provide entertainment. And in some of your more successful businesses are the movies and shows. They're wild shows. Yeah. Like crazy shit happens in these shows. But not with comedy. With comedy, we have to gatekeep. We have to keep it. And I think they realized after they did a few of those things that nobody watches them. People hate them. And it actually is bad for their business. And then they do the Brady Roast. Boom! And they're like, okay. You know, and when I did my special, they had no limitations on me. They didn't say anything.
And they have before?
And it was live. But no, because it was live. They're like, we're not telling you what to say. It's live. Just go ahead. We trust you. They went to see me live at the club. They're like, okay. I'm like, really? Okay. Sure. They're letting it go. Now, Tony has a special that's coming out on Netflix. They're doing Kill Tony is on Netflix now.
Really?
He's doing more roasts on Netflix. Yeah. It's great.
That's what you need.
And then I think it's also the competition with YouTube because so many people like Shane put his special out on YouTube. Ari put Jew on YouTube. So many people are putting these wild specials on YouTube and they're getting massive numbers.
Yeah.
Massive numbers. And so I think they're just like, look, we're in the fucking business. Like, what are we doing? This is obviously like super popular and people love it. And it's also really good. This is really good comedy. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Going broke. Going woke.
Let's go back to where we were. And now that Trump's in office, it's like, well, the whole country leans in that direction now. So people want you to get more wild.
SNL's kind of funny again?
They've had some funny sketches.
Yeah.
They had Shane on twice.
They had Shane on twice?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good for comedy. It's good. Comedy has to be looser. You have to be more wild. It doesn't mean you're cruel. It doesn't mean you're evil. It's just comedy. Just like movies where people get shot, that's not evil either. Okay? It's like comedy is funnier when it says fucked up things. It just is. Always has been. Yeah, back from Richard Pryor and Lenny Bruce and Sam Kinison and Bill Hicks and everybody else and Eddie Murphy. It's always been the wildest shit is what's funny.
Kings of comedy.
Yeah, exactly. Kings of Comedy, Blue Collar Tour. You know, Dave Chappelle. It's like, it's always the wild shit is the funniest shit. Period.
That's what people want to see.
That's what people want to see. They know what it is. It's a fucking art form. It's called shit talking.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Put your offense to the side.
Yeah. Just go have a good time. They don't mean it. Like, have you seen Brian Holtzman yet?
No.
Oh my God, you gotta see Brian Holtzman. He's a Los Angeles legend that we got to come out to Austin. And he was like the guy that would go on late at night. And he's so wild that Mitzi Shore wouldn't put him on stage for 2 weeks after 9/11.
Really?
She's like, no, don't let him go up. And we were dying. Holt's like, Mitzi, I don't understand. I'm not going to say anything crazy. And she's like, no way. 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, he's just saying the most ridiculous shit. He went on stage after Susan Smith drowned her kids, like the day after. He's like, I heard there were bad kids. I heard they sat that close to the TV. They didn't pollute away their blocks. They were always spilling their fucking milk. Those kids would not be missed. Like, it's a crazy character. You meet him in real life. He's the nicest guy on earth. But he's so funny. He's so ridiculous. I don't want to tell you what he's talking about now. I don't want to give it away, but comics just line up to watch this guy. Like, when he's on stage, we all get onto the balcony. Like, Holtzman.
Has he been in the mothership?
Oh, yeah, he headlines there all the time.
Nice.
He's there all the time. He wasn't having an audience in L.A. because they were putting him late at night. And here we're like, throw him up at 10 o'clock. Let him headline.
Yeah.
Give him 40 minutes, man. Let him go off.
I love it.
It's fun. It's a good time for comedy. A really good time for comedy.
But movies, though, we need movies. Yeah. Movies haven't caught up, though.
No, but have you seen...
I'm not saying we got to go make Tropic Thunder multiple times.
Have you seen Segura's new Netflix series?
No.
Oh, my God.
Is it?
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. It's called Bad Thoughts.
Okay.
It's these short sketches, these short films, essentially. They're all like short, like 5-10 minute films.
Yeah.
and there's just a bunch of them, and they're fucking ridiculous, like so outrageous and so crazy that you're watching like, no, oh my god, what the fuck, dude?
Is it just
really
him
wild.
Or is Bert with him?
A bunch of people. No, Bert is not in it, and Bert actually made a video
Bert's on
congratulating
the outs.
Tom and
Bert's on the
saying,
outs.
"I don't know why I wasn't on it. Did you think about me having me on it? Kind of weird that my best friend didn't have me on his show."
Yeah.
He's like, and he told Tom, I'm kind of joking, but also kind of serious. Like, was there any talks about having me on?
He's a little hurt. Your first alternate, Bert. You just missed the cut.
I wasn't on it either.
Yeah.
You know, who cares? It's great. It's really great. And it's like Netflix taking wild chances. Just completely wild chances.
They got so much goddamn money. Like,
yes. Yeah, and so many viewers. You know, it's like if you want to reach the most people, it's YouTube and then Netflix.
you think UFC is going to go to Netflix?
I don't know if they could do that. I'm a dummy. I'm not a business guy. I don't understand. So the problem is, would they be pay-per-view still? Because the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight was on Netflix, and it was just you could just watch it, just like you watch everything else. You have to pay more for it. So if they had the UFC on Netflix, but they made people pay more for it, I don't know how that would work out.
What if you just did like $5?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's a good question, right? Like, if the UFC was $5 instead of $70, would you actually make more money? Because you would get millions of downloads or millions
We
of
think
views?
about the user base on Netflix.
Right.
It's
pretty immense.
It's got to be what, 500 million, a billion.
Yeah, we'll find out. It's got to be way bigger than ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus fucked themselves with that a couple ago. I couldn't even get it on my
Yeah,
on
they
TV.
had a crash during the Ankalaev Pereira fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not good.
And I was like looking online, like, what the fuck? I'm not the only one. Like thousands of people were like,
what was the
done with ESPN.
root cause of that? Did they discern?
I don't know. It literally wouldn't let me get on.
That's another fight. Pereira took that fight with a broken hand and norovirus.
I knew he was messed up.
He's an animal. Netflix has 94 million monthly active users. The company has over 300 million paid global subscribers. So it's 300 million worldwide. Top tier, ad-supported tier. Oh, so they have an ad. Now you can have ads, so it's cheaper. You can get it cheaper with ads. Okay, they're distinct from paid subscribers. Multiple individuals can share an account. Well, you're using it the correct way, though. You're using it the way African Americans used to use it. Black people used to call woke like, you're awake. I'm woke. You can't sneak that stupid shit by me.
Right.
I'm woke.
Right.
You know, and then the fucking white people took it over and ruined it. Like a lot of things.
Exactly. Did we fuck that up too?
Not us. Not us. But the ones with blue hair.
Yeah. Now woke means a whole different. Whole different ballgame.
Well, now it's essentially a pejorative. They can't even use it in a positive way. You know, that's beaten down.
But I like it because
it's
it's kind of like you can just be triggered about anything now, so it's so convenient.
Yes.
You know, because I can really silence you if you start out intellectualizing me. I can just be like, dude, you're triggering me. You're hurting my feelings.
You're triggering me with
Dude,
information.
I kid you not. I've never talked about this. I'm probably going to lose half my audience. But
no,
I went to Harvard University for this thing, this longevity summit through a very good friend of mine. I won't mention his name because then I'll give away the event that I was at. I called my wife on day 2, and I was like, babe, I feel like I landed on Mars. I go, I got to get out of here. And she goes, what is going on? I said, I just listened to a panel of PhDs for 4 hours debate about whether or not a microaggression is something that could happen to you that you don't recognize, that was causing a micro trauma that the other person didn't realize they were doing, but it was still creating an unsafe environment.
I think there should be mandatory jiu-jitsu classes for those people. Mandatory jiu-jitsu.
My head was so twisted.
Here's your micro trauma.
Yeah, when they passed the microphone to me, I got so much trouble. And I won't say his last name, but Daniel, he's still mad at me right now because of this. They passed the microphone to me, and they're like, you know, do you have anything to add to the conversation? I go, this sounds like a bunch of people, this whole panel up here, you guys sound like you boarded a spaceship and literally left Mother Earth. Because I have no idea what you're talking about. You are talking about trying to identify something that you, by its very nature, say you don't know if you have it or you don't. So let's just admit that it's a ghost. So how are we going to – we can't measure it. We can't find it. We can't prove you have it. We can't prove you don't have it. So how are we going to treat it?
What's this culture of victimization
crazy.
and the monetization? It's like there's status in victimization. You know,
Yeah.
that's the thing. They've essentially made it like a virtue to be a victim. So you're
Yeah.
looking for little things that have possibly. I believe there was a microaggression. I believe he
I think you know what? I think I felt it.
possibly rolled his eyes.
I possibly rolled.
I mean, that is gonna haunt me. I need therapy now. I think he might have rolled his eyes.
And that's absolutely acceptable.
That is a microaggression, like maybe rolling your eyes. Like you say something to me and I go, okay. And then I leave. Oh my God, that was a microaggression.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what I just did going, okay.
But
That's
here's the cool
microaggression.
thing: is you're kind of off the hook because if you didn't intentionally create the microaggression, I just perceived it as
Depends
a
on who I am. If I'm a white heterosexual
Oh, well, then, yeah.
cis male,
Then you're screwed.
I got problems.
Then you're screwed. So anyway, back to the food supply. We took a U-turn there for a second. What's really interesting is if you just take a very 30,000 foot view and you say, let's just look at the broad strokes on the blue zone research, right? There's no continuity between diets in these blue zones. So it's not keto, paleo, pescatarian, vegan, vegetarian, raw food, Atkins. It's whole food, just what you were just saying. You know,
Whole food and a lot of healthy lifestyle.
Whole food. Well, the two things that were non-interchangeable were sense of purpose and community and activity until later in life. So you didn't have any of the blue zones where people didn't feel a sense of purpose and community in life. In fact, there were no such things as assisted care living facilities. You know, the assisted care in those countries, as mom and dad moved back in with the kids until the day that they die. And there's a lot to be said for that because maybe grandma's only purpose is to go out and get vegetables for dinner that night, but she has a purpose.
And she's a part of the community.
And she's also
not
part of
locked
the
up in a
community.
home with a bunch of people who don't really care about her.
Yeah. You know, we knew something in the mortality space because I used to study mortality and mortality research. And we knew that if you wanted to cut somebody's life expectancy in half at any age, and I mean at any age, you put them in isolation. So as soon as you create isolation, you dramatically reduce, if not half, the life expectancy. Now, later in life, we would call this broken heart syndrome, caregiver syndrome, and these were actually very valid syndromes. So if we actually were doing the life expectancy on an elderly spouse who was still applying for insurance, or we were looking at what's called a second to die claim on life insurance policy, and one spouse had passed away, we would dramatically reduce the life expectancy of the second spouse. And the reason why that's important is I think that people don't realize that we are actually being isolated in plain sight, right? I mean, we are trying to create connection through our phones. We're trying to create connection through social media. And these are not human connections. In fact, you know, if you look at the rates of depression, suicide, suicidal ideation, obesity, chronic mental illness. And I think we actually have a chronic lack of mental fitness, not necessarily a mental illness crisis in this country. And if you look at the skyrocketing rates of these conditions and how they are creeping into younger and younger and younger generations, you got 9-year-olds being treated for depression now. All right. So what's happening? What's happening is isolation in plain sight. You know, we don't problem solve anymore. We don't have communities with our friends anymore. We actually don't build social connections. We've lost our connection to Mother Nature. You know, that's why I like going out to my place in Colorado. It's probably like you like bow hunting. It's just
Nature.
old school connection to Mother Nature. And how freaking good do you feel?
Yeah, it's very, very good. I really wish I lived in nature. I'd really like to be living in the woods again.
For young men today, particularly like young, straight, white men, I think it's kind of hard, like for me and you, to even understand the world they grew up in. That is very different than the world we grew up. Like they grew up in this woke era. And okay, now it's kind of like that's receded and wokeism has been defeated. But they grew up in a time where racialism was accepted by every powerful institution, just against them.
Right.
You know, like it was totally fine to demonize straight white men at your high school, at your college, in your movies, in your TV shows, your politicians, celebrities, everybody was just, and that does like, it unlocks a certain thing that we kind of all had a gentleman's agreement to not unlock. Like, we're just not really going to do that. You know, we don't want to be like racialists. And so I think that's a component to it too. But there's also no question that it's exploded since Israel's launched this war on Gaza.
Yeah. And it's exploded on the left, which you never heard anti-Jewish sentiment in public spaces before. You really never saw that on campuses. You know, if Israel did something, you may see a protest, but it was generally it was organic. These don't seem organic. They seem very funded, and they're very disruptive. And, you know, some universities experience vandalism and fires and crazy shit and people being threatened and doxxed. You know, it's different. It's a different level of it than I think we've ever seen before. And it's kind of it's created a giant divide on the left, right? Because on the left you have a lot of people that are their whole life they've been in support of Israel, right? And now all of a sudden there's these Free Palestine people that are also on the left. So you have this divide on the left.
Yeah,
you know?
and there was that divide goes back a lot. Like there were leftist divides over the Israel-Palestine question going back really to like 1967, where most of the kind of like the Black Power movement people, like the Black Panthers, the Nation of Islam, those guys, they all sided with the Palestinians because they all saw it as like an extension of like, yeah, that's the whole, you know, we're against this kind of like racist colonizing,
right,
you know, like force. And then, of course, there were a lot of influential Jewish people on the left who were like, no, not in this case, we're okay with it. But you guys sure are right about all that civil rights stuff. But like, no, let's not look at it. Let's not look over there. But so a lot of that has kind of reemerged. Now, I do also, you know, I don't know. Like I talked to one kid who was like a grad student at Columbia, which was really like the center of so many of these protests. And he's Jewish. And I was like, so what's it like there? And he was like, they're annoying and they're Latin. Like some of their chants are like real kind of weird. Yeah, I don't really know what they mean by it. And I was like, well, do you ever feel like threatened? And he's like, no, it's not. Like, it's fine. They'll just chant as you walk by. And then I do know also that they had at least one time, they had like a Seder service because they got like Jewish people in those protest movements too. And so they, over last Passover, it was a year ago, they had like a Seder service with the Jews like in there too. So I don't know like what percentage of them are like just against the war and seeing pictures of dead babies and stuff like that. What percentage of them are actually, you know, like harbor resentment toward Jewish people? Like it's kind of hard to measure. But I would just say that like it almost in a very similar way to like what I was talking about with the drone war against Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. It just made them stronger. You know, it's like, hey, if you want to see less Al-Qaeda, maybe stop having the American military kill innocent civilians in their land, because that seems to be fueling them. And at the same time, for the people who are so concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism, you're like, okay, well, it has exploded since Israel's been doing this to Gaza, right? So like maybe the U.S. shouldn't be funding and arming the whole goddamn conflict, because that does seem to like at least give those people a giant talking point to latch onto. Maybe we shouldn't have a system where like our political class is not allowed to criticize a foreign government and a foreign government that's gotten us into like 7 wars, or at least played a large role in getting us into those wars explicitly. I'm not like alleging some secret conspiracy. Yeah. I'm saying like Benjamin Netanyahu is John McCain.
Right.
Like he's been telling us Iran has a nuke. He's been telling us they're 5 years away from a nuke since I was 7. Literally, he's been saying Iran is 5 years away from a nuke the entire time. And he came over here, he testified before Congress in 2002 that we, as a regional expert, that if we were to overthrow Saddam Hussein, democracy would sweep the region and there'd be all these positive reverberations. And then he goes, and you also got to overthrow the regime in Iran, and you also got to overthrow Muammar Gaddafi. And like every single one of these things, not Iran yet, still pushing for that, but we went and overthrew Saddam Hussein. We went and overthrew Muammar Gaddafi. And I don't know what swept the region, but it wasn't democracy.
Yeah, so now if you notice the spin on it, they're putting it all on her. I mean, I'm sure she sucks, but she is very young.
She's a fucking kid, right?
She didn't write that script, though, right? And I don't think she made the no dwarves decisions. That was Sir Peter Dinklage.
That was crazy, right?
The script was
Wait a
screwed
minute,
from
how
the
much
start.
did this cost? They should get Doge to look into this movie. They spent $250 million making that movie. But imagine you spend $250 million and you get some young girl and you don't kind of talk to her about like, hey, you know, don't get political. You're young. and I know you have opinions about things, but should be just about the movie.
Well,
Let's just
to defend Big Head Girl, let me tell you something. The message of the movie is to be that bitch. That's the message that they wrote a script that's telling girls, I don't need nobody tells me I'm a 20-year-old girl, so obviously I should run my mouth all the time. That's the theme of the new Snow White.
no, really.
Yes. Now,
It's not the same story.
no. So now they've put it all on her. Now they've failed. Here's what happened. She made the cardinal error of saying free Palestine on Twitter. So she could say all that men are bad and it's this and that. But once you do that, now they've put the entire weight of the failure upon her. When really, it's like making Jimmy Fallon apologize for doing a Chris Rock impression when Lauren and a team of lawyers and consultants decided if it was okay, the amount of brown they put on him to simulate Chris Rock.
Right.
You think Jimmy Fallon made that call? But he's got to sit there and apologize to a white... Robin DiAngelo comes on. I'm not watching this. Am I dreaming? And he's like, he's clearly drunk, and I don't blame him. And he's like, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. She goes, you see, Jimmy, this weird nun lady is like giving him a lecture.
Did you ever see her in that Matt Walsh movie? Did you see Am I Racist?
No.
It's fucking hilarious.
I know about, we put her in Prez Trek, the thing I did made with Kyle, the Star Trek of Biden.
In Am I Racist, Matt Walsh, didn't he get her to give someone money for reparations? Didn't that happen? Did you see the movie?
No, but I
saw.
he's
He's a fake academic who's talking to her, and he's like a fake woke guy with like a fake ponytail, and he gets her to say the most ridiculous shit. It's so funny
because her money depends on it. And he said something interesting. I saw him talking about, which is the reason. Because why would these people sit here and he used to say about the Daily Show? Why would they sit there and be on the thing? And he goes, "Oh, they're aware, but they want the plug. Do you understand? Their demographic wants to see them be stupid, and they're going to defend them no matter what. So it don't matter. The why they would sit there and be part of that.
She didn't have any idea that that's what it was.
But even like
she thought she was doing. They were doing some kind of a documentary on race from like a woke perspective.
Well,
like, I don't think.
Look at what he says about it.
I would have to ask him like what the premise was that he set up.
The other lady, the lady with the colored hair that he kept asking about, that was What is a Woman?
If you enjoyed today's episode on JRE Plus, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you.